Movements make patterns, and patterns make posture is one of the things that
I like
we
that.
say out there. So,
I like that saying.
You know,
I got some other questions actually from people on the interweb, on Instagram and whatnot, that wanted to ask you some questions. I told them I was having a chiropractor on today, and I knew I was going to ask you about the back stuff. So, someone asked, this is Anthony Grisanti asked, what's the most difficult part of the body to crack?
The crack. That's, first of all, people get fixated on hearing that noise.
Yeah.
It's technically called cavitation, and it's a nitrogen bubble that escapes the joint when you create a vacuum, and it bursts, and that's what you're hearing.
Is, yeah.
You don't need that sound to have it be an effective adjustment, and patients get really, I didn't hear anything. So, well, that doesn't matter.
How do you feel?
Okay. I would probably, if you're talking about everything, extremities, everything, I would say probably the elbow is tough, because all the manipulations on elbows patient feels like they're in a vulnerable position, feels like you're stressing the elbow. Elbow's tough to adjust.
What kind of adjustments do you do on the elbow?
There's several.
What would be maybe a pretty regular?
A common one that we see in little kids is called Nursemaid's elbow. So it's called that because the nursemaid would pick the kid up by the arm to pick him up.
Yeah.
And the radial head comes out from the ligament that's around it, pops out, and hurts a lot. The kid can't move the arm. It's a real easy fix. You just push in on their bicep, and you rotate their forearm, and it drops back in.
Wow.
Yeah, that's fun.
Yeah,
extremity adjusting is fun. I was, as you know, I was a basketball guy, so in chiropractic school, I did a lot of feet and ankles, and was always the big power lifter with big nasty feet who would come to see you, not the cute girl, work on their feet, that's how it was. But I became good at that, and having good foot and ankle adjustment, feels awesome.
I've never had one. That sounds
nice.
Interesting. Yeah. I've got another one here from Kaylin asks, OMG, ask any chiropractic advice for a hip labrum tear.
That's tough. Labrum tears are, a hip labrum creates stability in the lip and the hip, so the hip is a ball and socket, and the labrum is a cartilaginous ring that goes around the outside of that to make that socket deeper. When you tear that, it creates instability, and a lot of times you're pinching that labrum, and so strengthening the hip, stopping the exercises that make it hurt. If you're a young person, I would say have it repaired.
Oh, okay. What does repairing it look like? That's getting a surgery?
Yep, surgically repairing that labrum. It's not fun.
Jesus, yeah. That's got to be, especially on the hip, too. I feel
I'm pretty sure I have a labrum tear on the one side, because if I do like mountain climbers, they'll start to bother me. So
yeah, that's incredible. That's same. I feel like with shoulders too. Like I hear like shoulder labrums tear pretty easily.
Shoulders are junky joints because you have a round ball sitting on a flat surface, and they're super mobile, but they're not very stable.
No, yeah, so I've got mine are like double jointed, so they like slide in and like I can I won't do it on camera because people will be freaked out, but yeah, I can like slide them in and out, and I pinched a nerve actually, in my neck. Well, actually, I pinched it first in my shoulder, and then I feel like it was the next couple of days I couldn't really turn my head at all.
Pretty connected.
Ended up having to go to the ER actually to get like a shot to like release the tension or something. It was weird, but I was curious, like with that sort of thing, pinched nerves and whatnot, is that often from posture issues, or is that like a acute, like a moment in time that like
it can be both
happens?
It's probably, patients always feel like if you're putting that bag of groceries in the back of the trunk and you get the sharp pain in your back and you get sciatica, that putting the groceries in was the thing that did it. Well, it's probably the 10,000 things you did prior to that.
It's the needle that
and that
broke
was
them,
exactly thing, the piece of straw that broke the camel's back, right?
Yeah.
And that's how patients think. When they don't have pain, they're healthy. When they do have pain, they're unhealthy. And especially males, that's one of the hardest things when a man comes in, he's got back pain, and we tell him, you're going to need 8 weeks of care or whatever. And in 3 weeks, their pain's all gone, so they're all better. Well, then they stop coming, and then 2 weeks later, they're back with the same problem. And they're like, I have it back again. I'm like, no, we just got rid of the inflammatory part of it, and your pain went away. You still have the biomechanical imbalance and the dysfunction.
You still don't stand straight. You still
don't move correctly. The manipulation, or the cracking, as patients like to call it, its primary function is to get normalcy in that joint, to get it to work the way that it's supposed to. Like when people are, they'll crack their own neck, they'll say, well, I crack it all the time. Well, yeah, you get pain relief from that, because when you create cavitation, you get muscle inhibition, and that lowers pain. Feels good.
Yeah.
But you're not moving the segment that needs to be moved. And I always ask those people, so you used to do it like once a week, and now you're doing it like 3 times a day, right? Yeah. Because they're aggravating it.
They're
making it worse.
Well, I was curious too, because a lot of people do. What your take is when people do like that partner back cracking, where people come up behind them and then Is
see
that
see
a
a lot
good
of
thing?
patience over that? No,
Yeah,
it's not.
I was
That's
gonna
why-
say I always say
that's-
no when people ask me to do that
and
to
usually
them.
they
I'm like,
take
I
them,
don't.
they'll shake them a little bit.
Yeah,
you
no, that doesn't look good to
no,
me.
and it's pretty aggressive, and
Yeah.
you know, it's someone your age, you're not likely to create a big problem. But I was at a high school basketball game watching,
Yeah.
and it was a girls' game, and a girl laid down on the floor, and the other girl like straddled her and adjusted her back on the floor, and I'm like, probably shouldn't be doing that.
Yeah, Jesus.
But
that's scary.
It is, and people just think it's there's no problem with it. Or we'll have I'll treat a patient, and typically it's when I treat the wife and the husband's in the room watching, then she doesn't come back for 2 weeks, and then 3 weeks she comes back and she's worse. And well, he figured he could do that because he watched for 12 seconds, so he knew how to do it.
Yeah.
So he tried
you went
to
to
adjust
school
her.
for
Yeah.
however many years,
Yeah,
but he saw you do it one time.
Right.
So
It happens. People do that.
yeah, that's incredible.
Never with cervical spine. No one ever tries to do someone else's neck, but they will
Yeah.
try to do their low back and their mid back.
Well, that's what we got questions about that too. How is it? Is it scary cracking people's like when you do like the neck snap thing? That it looks. It's a little.
Well, there's a
scary
lot of
to
stuff on the
happen to
internet
you.
showing really aggressive things like that no doctor in practice really does.
Yeah.
And if you look up what manipulation, the definition of a manipulation, it's going to say a high velocity, so fast, low amplitude, no force. So it's kind of like, when you whack somebody on the chest quick like that, you do it fast, but you don't hurt them. You don't hit it fast. And that's how adjusting is.
Oh, okay.
And it should be short and quick. And if you've evaluated the person, the risk is pretty low of
Yeah.
anything negative coming out of it.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
if you just look at malpractice insurance, insurance companies, they're in the business of making money and covering their butt if there's claims. And chiropractors play. I see more patients in a day than the primary care does in town, and my insurance coverage is probably a tenth of what hers is for malpractice, or what theirs is, because there's more likely something negative to go on in the medical doctor's office than in the chiropractic office,
wow.
by far.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, that makes sense. Especially,
They don't have cheaper rates because they like chiropractors. It's cheaper because we have less incidence of negative outcomes.
Yeah, because like you said, they're just trying to make money. So.
4% at the medical doctor. 4% of the people that will see a medical doctor will have a negative outcome. And chiropractic is something like 0.008.
Jeez, yeah.
So pretty low risk for what. Those are some of the things that we try to educate patients about too. Like, I would bet that your producer girlfriend over here has ibuprofen in her purse, and takes it like it's not that big of a deal. And you have
Do you, McKenna?
Man.
She does. Yep,
Man,
she does.
and we have 15,500 deaths a year from nonsteroidals like ibuprofen.
Really?
And that's a AMA number, so it's probably pretty conservative.
Yeah. Wow. I personally, I actually can't swallow pills very easily,
Mhm.
so I don't really take pain relievers at all.
You're one of those guys. huh?
Yeah,
I just can't do it.
I can't. I did it when I got my knee surgery, and that was it. Like that's like basically it. And they literally gave me liquid
I
ibuprofen.
probably have 8 supplements in my hand in the morning and put them all in my mouth at one time and swallow them.
God, no, I can't. I can't. It just doesn't. I don't know. It's a bad experience for me. I was gonna ask how can we've got people that ask more questions about
Sure.
lower back pain and stuff like that.
Super common. It's we're in a pandemic, right? So
Yeah.
back pain in America is epidemic. 80% of the adult population
Has some
sees
sort
someone for back pain.
Wow, that's crazy. It makes sense though. The back. I feel like this, like just your back in general and your spine is it's a scary thing for like the average person, for me at least, I guess, to think about, like just anything being wrong with it just freaks
Right,
me
and
out.
people, I always joke that Americans were impatient. We tap our foot at the microwave because it's not heating the pizza fast enough. And in healthcare, it's the same thing. Again, men worse than women. They hurt their back, and I get guys who've had pain for 2 weeks, and they come in on Monday and they want to play in the golf outing on Wednesday, and
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, not happening.
That would be me.
And yeah,
I don't
and,
golf, but
and,
that would be me.
and we think that that's how we should care for it, and that's our problem. So we rush to surgery. We rush to have those things happen, and those are not. I have probably right now 50 people who have implants in their neck or their back that I'm taking care of. They have fusions or metal screws that get put in there, and people think in their head, I'm gonna have the surgery, I'm gonna have my brand new back, and no, you have a surgically compromised back. Again, nothing against when we need to do that. I
Yeah.
send people to back surgery all the time because
Yeah.
they can't get better conservatively, and they've waited too long, and they're too unfit, and they won't do anything to help themselves. And so, surgical is an intervention, but you don't get a new back. You get a different back with different problems.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. Different, not new.
Yeah.
Because I think maybe here in America especially, we kind of understate the importance of holistic health and like the fact that like you have to, like you're saying, it wasn't the groceries that
Right.
messed your back up. It
Right.
was probably everything else, the way you
Well,
sit, the way you do all these other things.
You asked earlier about the difference in chiropractic and medicine, and chiropractic has a lot more training in nutrition. We have 3 semesters of clinical nutrition, and
Oh wow.
the man who, until he just recently passed last year, taught nutrition at Loyola Medical School. They have 1 3-hour lecture. So the difference in knowledge about nutrition, and we don't emphasize that at all. And
Yeah.
you know, when you go, so I do a lot of seminars in nutrition. I like to go to those because I find that stuff fascinating. And they always talk about the standard American diet, the SAD diet, we call it, because
Yeah.
it's not good. And when my wife gets mad because we walk through the grocery store and I look at people's carts and I look at the person and I go, look at their cart.
Yeah.
It's all pre-made food. It's all Hot Pockets. It's all whatever, you know, something you can just microwave and eat.
Yeah.
Then wonder why you have, and we don't teach any of that in school. We don't teach you how to be.
They don't teach you
zero.
how to eat. That's
And-
something I struggle
and
with a lot, actually.
I get yelled at because I criticize physical education because, you know, I used to talk at Wilmot quite a bit, a local high school, and I made a comment in one of the classes about why are all of our phy ed teachers here got big bellies.
Yeah, my
And I
dad
watched-
made similar comments.
And I watched the phy ed classes and they roll the balls out and kids stand around. Maybe they shoot hoops or play volleyball, but there's no emphasis on fitness or taking care of yourself. I try to teach patients, and very few of, I mean, some listen, but
Yeah.
younger people I try to influence more. Think about exercise like brushing your teeth. You don't go days without brushing your teeth. I mean, you shouldn't,
Yeah.
and most people don't. Don't go days without exercise. It doesn't have to be the insanity video.
Yeah.
I mean, take a 30-minute walk every day. Take a 40-minute walk every day. Have some self-care.
Yeah. Just got to make it. I think for a lot of people, it should be a habit. It's something that I know with, for me, with when the pandemic started, because I would go to the gym like all the time. And so like when the pandemic started, I definitely was like thrown off my stuff where it was like, now I'm maybe going for a walk for a while, but that was
Right.
it. And it kind of really threw me through a slump. And I felt like crap for so long. And now I'm back to working out every single day and feel way better just from doing it. Like even when I don't want to do it, after I do it, I'm like,
My
just
high
like
school-
an exhale.
Yeah, my high school basketball coach would tell me the most important day for me to work out was the day that I didn't want to. And
Yeah.
I really think that's true. I'll have patients say, well, you're addicted to exercise. I'm like, no. When I get up at 5:30 in the morning to go work out, I don't really want to get out of bed. It's nice and warm and snuggly. And I'm like, ugh, and I grumble. I'm like, oh, today's weightlifting day. I don't want to do that. But 10 minutes into the workout, I wonder why I was trying not to do that. Because if I go 3 days and don't exercise, my joints let me know I just don't feel right.
Yeah.
And I think should be more of the norm.
Yeah, I think so too.
But it's hard. People put themselves last all the time.
Yeah, and then we get
Had
caught
a couple
up in,
miracle patients one was my wife's patient, and she kind of became my patient. She was kind of an overweight female who taught, and I struggled seeing her initially because she was very like bummed out all the time. And my wife worked really hard to get her she nutritionally detoxed her, got her to change her diet, got her to work out, and she like had a metamorphosis. She became a different person. She started doing triathlons, and she just was like, it was like you changed the person's whole life. It was awesome.
Yeah.
But there's
I
I can remember that one.
Yeah,
so-
that's fair. Yeah, there's not a ton of those.
There's not a lot of them, you know.
Hey, thanks for watching there, guy. Click right over here if you want to see that episode in its entirety. Or you can click over here and subscribe to the channel. See all the other fun shit we do here. It's really up to you, guy.